Can you help me? Lily's voice broke in the cold air, thin like glass. She stood in front of Marcus and his daughter Emily, soaked, trembling, holding her backpack the way someone holds the last seconds of courage. Emily stepped forward, recognizing her immediately. The young woman who had talked to her weeks before, always kind, always trapped in something the girl didn't understand. Before Marcus could answer, another voice cut through the moment. Evelyn. She appeared under a red umbrella, flawless, her expensive perfume mixing with the smell of rain. Even here, Lily? She said softly, with a polite smile that hid blades. You really don't know limits. Lily's shoulders shrank. A strong wind hit. A drop slid from her chin like a tear. Or maybe it was a tear. Evelyn stepped closer, tilting her head like someone petting a wounded animal. This is what you do. You beg. To anyone who looks at you for more than 2 seconds. Emily squeezed her father's hand. Marcus swallowed hard. Lily took a deep breath, her voice breaking a second time. I have nowhere else to go, Marcus. Please. Evelyn let out a small laugh. She does this to look fragile, you know? She said, looking at Marcus like someone explaining a stain on a rug. It's her drama. She's always been this way. Lily pressed her lips together and said nothing. She only waited. Her entire life depended on that wait. Marcus felt his chest tighten. The past weeks flashed through his mind. Lily talking to Emily at the park, shy, curious, hungry for something that seemed simple. Normal life. And now she was here. Asking for help. Asking him. The silence grew so heavy that even the rain seemed to soften to listen. Emily tugged her father's jacket. Dad. Please. Lily took an unsteady step, and Marcus instinctively grabbed her arm before she could fall. Evelyn stepped back slightly, her eyes narrowing in quiet irritation. Something was changing there. Something she could not control. Before we continue, if you believe in kindness, justice, and second chances, consider subscribing. As a thank you, you'll receive emotional stories every single day. The house door opened with a warm sigh when Marcus guided Lily and Emily inside. The contrast was immediate. Outside, the world felt like steel. Inside, everything smelled like fresh coffee and wet wood. The rain kept tapping on the roof, rhythmic, persistent, like it was hitting the same spot Lily tried to hide inside herself. Her soaked shoes left small dark circles on the rug. Emily took off her jacket slowly, watching Lily the way someone watches a person trying to remember how to breathe. Lily stayed near the door, unsure if she was allowed to step further. The warm light of the living room shaped her face. Deep dark circles, strands of hair stuck to her skin, the faint red of cold. A young woman trying to look whole while everything inside her trembled. Marcus walked to the kitchen without saying a word. The sound of the kettle filling with water echoed softly, almost therapeutic. In the middle of the silence, a memory burst in Lily's mind. A dry laugh, muffled, familiar. The smell of the room shifting to expensive, aggressive perfume. A door slamming. Evelyn saying her name like an accusation. Lily blinked hard, pushing the memory away. Emily noticed and walked toward her carefully. The girl held out a soft blanket, old, almost faded by time, with both hands. No words. Only the gesture. The kind of gesture that breaks someone who never learned how to be cared for. Lily held the blanket, feeling warmth spread across her cold arms. For a moment, the air felt lighter. Marcus returned with a steaming mug. The vapor rose in slow spirals, orbiting the silence between them. Here. This will help a little, he said simply, his voice deep and calm. Lily's hands touched the warm ceramic. A tiny tremor ran through her fingers, not only from the cold, but because of what she was about to say. Thank you. I really had nowhere else to go. Her voice dragged like a wet leaf. Marcus's expression shifted for a second. It wasn't pity. It was recognition. The kind that comes from someone who has seen this kind of despair before. In the background, the rain grew stronger, tapping the glass like applause. Emily watched Lily the way someone watches a sad story before knowing the ending. The house was quiet. But inside that silence, an invisible electric question grew. What did Evelyn do to this girl to leave her like this? And why did Lily choose this house, this family? On this night, the air felt like it was holding its breath with them. The lamp's reflection glimmered on the metal clasp of Lily's bag. She noticed the shine, inhaled deeply, and chose her words with care. The care of someone who learned to protect herself. "I'm not asking for much," she said, looking directly at Marcus. "I just need a place where I can think, where no one keeps telling me who I'm supposed to be." Emily listened quietly, sitting at the edge of the couch, her legs swinging in the air. Lily pulled the blanket tighter around her shoulders. "If I can stay for a few nights, I can organize my life. I'm used to handling things alone. Not today." The last words came out in a tired breath. Not weak, just honest. Marcus looked down for a moment, like he was searching for the right answer in the wood floor. Emily lifted her head. The rain intensified, drawing crooked lines of reflected light on the window. Lily waited, without expectation, just waiting for the dignity of an answer. Marcus exhaled slowly, like someone accepting something inevitable and necessary. And in that second, the room seemed to change temperature. Not from the heater, but from the weight of what was about to happen between those 3 lives. Lily took a deep breath, looking at the mug in her hands. "She won't stop," she murmured. Marcus looked up. He knew exactly who she meant. "Evelyn?" he asked, his voice lowering. A well-known name in the city. Partner of the richest businessmen around. Constant presence at public events. Owner of a perfect smile that appeared in the newspaper whenever a charity campaign needed attention. Marcus had never spoken to her directly, but he saw her in the streets, in photos, in news articles, and in the way people treated her, as if every word she said weighed like gold. Before Lily could reply, the sound of a car slowing down in the street made all 3 of them turn toward the window. It wasn't the elegant car Evelyn had driven earlier that night, but the way it stopped, slow, calculated, far too close, made Lily's jaw tighten. Marcus noticed the small gesture. "She came back?" Lily murmured. Not as a question, but as a reflex of someone used to being monitored. Emily clutched a pillow to her chest, eyes on her father. The engine turned off. Headlights cut through the curtain for a moment, splitting the room into 2 halves, light and shadow. Marcus moved closer to the window cautiously. Outside, through the fine rain, there was only the silhouette of a dark car. Still, opaque windows. No one stepped out. The rain thickened, tapping the glass like impatient fingers. Emily whispered, "Dad, is someone watching us?" Marcus didn't answer. He kept observing. Lily tightened the blanket, but she didn't step back. Her face didn't show panic, only recognition. That kind of silence, that kind of waiting. It was exactly the kind of thing Evelyn would do. The rain eased, but the car stayed where it was, silent like an oddly obvious intention. Marcus closed the curtain a little, saying nothing. He sat in the leather chair, watching Lily with a new kind of attention. A careful measure of the shadow she carried. Emily got up slowly and went to the bookshelf to get a book. Even without understanding everything, she felt that something bigger was happening in that room. Lily leaned forward, elbows on her knees. The empty mug sat forgotten on the rug. "Has she always been like this?" Marcus asked, opening space gently. Lily let out a short, humorless laugh. "No. She knows exactly when to be the person everyone admires." She brushed a strand of hair from her face. With her, everything is image, appearance, control. She hesitated, deciding whether to continue. And the worst part is that it works. Her voice carried the kind of weariness that doesn't come from a hard day but from years. Emily, flipping the pages without really reading, looked up. Lily went on. "People like her. They respect her. They trust her. They think she is generous, brilliant, inspiring." She looked at Marcus. "I used to think that too, when I was little. Until I learned the difference between kindness and spectacle." Marcus breathed and folded his fingers together. "And with you?" he asked. Lily smiled, but it faded quickly. "With me, she never had to pretend." The sentence slid into the room like a thin blade. The memory came before the story. A door slamming. The smell of expensive perfume. The cold kitchen light reflecting on the shiny floor. And Evelyn's voice, too calm for the cruelty she spread. "If you fail, I will tell everyone you have an emotional problem. They will believe me. They always do." Lily blinked to push the memory away. Marcus watched without interrupting. The rain fell again, thin, dotting the glass with tiny cracks that seemed to map her breaths. She used to say I needed her for everything, Lily continued. And when I tried to do something on my own, she called me ungrateful, irresponsible. She fiddled with the blanket without noticing. And when I tried to work, she swallowed. She called the company before I did. Told them I had emotional instability, that I could cause trouble. Emily hugged the book to her chest. Marcus rested his chin on his hand, focused. Lily inhaled, gathering courage. Evelyn is the type of person who destroys your reputation before you even have one. Silence fell heavy. Then Lily's phone vibrated inside her bag. The sound sliced through the air like a knife. She froze. Marcus and Emily looked up. Lily opened her bag hesitantly, fingers taking an extra second to reach the phone. Screen lit. Unread message. The table reflected the cold glow of the screen as Lily read. Her shoulders slumped in a way that was not relief, only momentary defeat. Marcus waited without pressing. Lily finally raised her head. It's her, she said. Emily held the book tighter. Marcus leaned forward. Lily turned the screen slowly, revealing the message. Come back before you do something stupid. You will not survive alone out there. The rain seemed to clap for the cruelty. Marcus closed his eyes for a second. It was not shouting, not overt violence. It was much worse. It was psychological domination, cold, elegant, deadly. Now he understood the adversary standing before them, and the dark car still sat outside. Marcus stared at Lily's phone for a few seconds. The sentence on the screen sounded too measured to be a mother's worry, too polite to be a warning, and cruel enough to be a threat. He breathed in shallowly, and the air felt like iron in his chest. Lily turned off the screen with a quick, automatic motion. She put the phone back into her bag as if returning something that bites. She always writes like that, she said without looking up. Short, direct, and always making clear that I owe her. Marcus leaned back in his chair, arms folding slowly. Emily looked between them, like she could sense the invisible weight filling the room. Lily, Marcus said finally, his voice low but steady. You don't have to answer anything today. She raised her eyes, surprised, not by the words, but by the tone. He didn't ask whether it was true. He didn't demand explanations. He didn't judge. He didn't try to save her. He simply set a boundary. I know how she works, Lily replied after a second. If I don't go back, she starts calling people in town. She knows who will listen. Marcus nodded slowly, thoughtful. He looked back at the window. The dark car remained, still, immobile, a faceless presence. When he looked at Lily again, she was staring at the same spot, not with fear, but with resignation. Has she done this before? Marcus asked. Lily raised one eyebrow. Waiting, watching, pressuring without saying it's her? She sighed. It's her style. She likes to make it look like people chose on their own, even when they have no choice. Marcus nodded. It was the nod of someone connecting dots, not with panic, but with moral clarity. I can talk to someone, he said. A friend at City Hall, not to report, just to let them know you're not alone. Lily looked at him for a few long seconds. Her expression mixed surprise, exhaustion, and something deeper, like evaluating whether she could trust the offer. Marcus, Lily said finally, you don't have to get involved. He held her gaze. I know. Pause. But I saw how she spoke to you on the street, and I saw you shake afterward. I can't just ignore it. Lily ran a hand over her face, slow and tired, but vulnerable. Emily moved closer, holding the blanket with both hands. Lily, the girl said softly, you can sleep in my room tonight if you want. It's big, and it has fairy lights. The simple offer cracked open a silence of years inside Lily. She smiled. Small, honest, fractured. Thank you, Emily, she said. But here is fine. Marcus watched without interfering, but something stirred beneath his calm. An instinct he had not felt in a long time. Something that said, this girl came into my home for a reason, and I will not turn my back. The rain eased again. The car remained outside. And as if destiny had timed it, Marcus's phone vibrated. Unknown number. Short message. She always comes back for what is hers. Marcus stared at the screen. His jaw tensed. Without anyone noticing, he blocked the number. and tucked the phone away with more firmness than before. Emily yawned. Night passed on. Lily pulled the blanket around her shoulders and looked at the living room door leading to the hallway, the silent look of someone who had never slept outside her prison, and who now tried to understand rest. Marcus nodded toward the hall. There's a guest room at the end of the corridor. The lights work. It's simple but comfortable. Lily nodded in a small gesture of thanks. When she stood, the shadow of her wet hair fell across her face, revealing an expression Marcus did not expect. A silent plea from someone who had not asked anyone for anything in a long time. She walked down the hallway. Marcus followed with his eyes, not to shield her from fear, but to let her know she was not crossing that doorway alone. Outside, the car finally switched on its headlights. Emily moved to the window, but Marcus placed a hand on her shoulder, stopping her. They watched the lights roll away slowly, disappearing around the curve. When the silence returned, it was not the same. Now it felt like the silence before the real storm. The night moved like a thin thread of silence through the house. Marcus barely slept. He got up before dawn, made coffee, organized the kitchen, not because he needed to, but to push away the uneasy feeling lingering since the car disappeared down the street. When he returned to the living room, he found Lily there, sitting on the couch, Emily's blanket around her shoulders, her eyes fixed on nothing. "Did you sleep at all?" Marcus asked, handing her coffee. "Not much," she said, taking the mug with both hands. "But it was the first night in a long time when I didn't hear footsteps in the hallway." Marcus didn't comment, but her words stayed with him. Emily appeared soon after, hair messy, and hugged Lily without saying anything. Lily returned the gesture with quiet surprise. The morning was gray, but something new filled the air, as if the house itself was breathing with her. Lily took a sip of coffee and set the mug on the table. "Marcus," she began, looking toward the window. "I don't want to run. I never wanted to. I just never had a real chance to tell the truth." He pulled a chair and sat in front of her. "Then tell it," he said gently. She let out a short, tense laugh. "To who? The city that idolizes her? Her millionaire partner? Everyone who always believes in whatever shines the most?" Marcus stayed silent for a few seconds. Then he got up and returned with something in his hand. He placed his own phone on the table, sliding it toward Lily. She frowned. "Marcus, why?" He pointed to her phone lying next to her bag, its cracked screen showing persistent notifications. "All from the same person. Because yours can't do what you need to do," he said. Lily breathed in, already knowing what he meant. Her phone had always been an extension of Evelyn's control. Locked apps, disabled camera, no recordings, no photos, no privacy. Every message mirrored, every movement tracked. Recording anything with that phone was impossible. "She controlled everything," Lily whispered. "Even that." Marcus pushed his phone a little closer. "Use mine," he said simply. "You don't need to unlock anything. Just press the record button when you're in front of her." Lily looked at the phone as if it were a door she had never been allowed to open. There was weight in that moment, not just a gesture, a silent vote. "I believe you, and I will give you the tools to prove what they always denied." Lily ran her finger along the side of the phone. It felt warm, real, and for the first time in her life, real proof was possible. "Marcus, this could come back to you," she warned, tired but lucid. He held her gaze without wavering. "Then let it come," he said. Pause. "But she is not silencing you again." Lily took a deep breath. The decision was made. She slipped his phone into the inside pocket of her jacket. Firmly. "I'm going to talk to her today." Marcus simply nodded. So Lily got ready, mustered her courage, and left for her mother's house. The door opened with a soft creak as Lily entered the house. The familiar scent of lavender mixed with something metallic, as if the house exhaled control. She slid her hand into her jacket. Marcus's phone was still there. She tapped it lightly, just a discreet confirmation. No sound. No vibration. She closed her coat over it. Evelyn appeared at the top of the stairs, coming down slowly, each step measured like a private runway. "You came alone." It was not a question. It was provocation. Lily kept her chin lifted. "I needed to talk." Evelyn smiled with her mouth, not with her eyes. "Oh, Lily, when you need to talk, I know it's going to be fun." Lily inhaled deeply and walked into the living room. The tall windows reflected everything she did, the light entering like judgment. Evelyn made a small turn, examining her like someone studying an animal before dissection. "So go on," she teased. "What do you want to know? Why you're weak? Why no one can stand you? Why you always end up right back where you started?" Lily stood firm. "I want to know why you did those things to me." Evelyn raised one eyebrow. "Which part?" she asked with sweet poison. "The part where I called your employers? Or when I told the neighbors you had episodes? Or when I hid your clothes so you wouldn't go out? You'll have to be specific, dear." She let out a small, elegant laugh. "I do so many things that I even forget sometimes." Lily swallowed. "You liked seeing me suffer." Evelyn stopped. The room fell silent for 3 long seconds. Then a slow smile rose on her face, like something alive. "Yes, I liked it." She stepped closer, narrowing the distance, voice low and intimate. "I liked when you cried softly in your room, thinking I couldn't hear. I liked when you came home from interviews destroyed, not understanding why no one accepted you." She let out a satisfied breath. "And I liked, above all, watching you try to run from my shadow." A soft laugh. "It is beautiful to see someone so fragile trying to be an adult." Lily didn't move. Evelyn tilted her head. "But nothing leaves this room, Lily. Nothing." Her eyes shone with calculated malice. "You really think I didn't notice this little act of yours? The proud look, the rehearsed lines?" She stepped back 2 steps. "You think I never imagined that you would try to record me one day?" Lily froze, but only inside. Evelyn snapped her fingers. The door opened at once. A huge security guard entered, broad shoulders, neutral expression. "Search her," Evelyn ordered without even looking. The man approached. Lily stayed still, fear in her eyes, but backbone straight. He found her phone, old, locked, without camera, without apps, her empty bag, nothing else. He handed the phone to Evelyn. The woman held it up like a trophy. "Your phone is still mine," she said. "It always was. Nothing here records anything." Then the guard pulled a second phone from Lily's jacket pocket. Marcus's phone. Evelyn took it too. She looked at it and laughed. "So this was your big plan? A random phone? You didn't even unlock it, Lily." She shook the phone near Lily's face. "You're too predictable. You always were." Lily lowered her eyes, playing the defeated role she had played her whole life. Evelyn smiled, satisfied, believing she had won again. "Go. Leave. Before you give me more work." Lily turned and walked slowly toward the door. Step by step, her body tense, her breath trapped. Evelyn watched, triumphant. But when Lily touched the doorknob, she stopped. She didn't fully turn, just enough for a strand of hair to reveal the corner of her eye. Then, a smile, slow, confident, a smile Evelyn had never seen on her, and a small gesture with Lily's fingers, pointing toward the phone in Evelyn's hand. Evelyn frowned, unlocked the screen. A giant notification flashed. Live. Community share stream. Replicated on Neighborhood Community Group, City Hall page, Town Forum, local Facebook page, public Insta stories, X to Twitter. Tag, Evelyn Truth. The world collapsed inside Evelyn's eyes. "No, no, no," she screamed. She tried to stop the stream, but the live wasn't on the phone. It was mirrored, auto-shared everywhere in real time. The guard stepped back 3 steps, as if he were witnessing a building collapse. "Stop it! Stop it! Stop it!" Evelyn shouted, hitting buttons, slapping the screen. In her panic, the phone slipped, hit the floor. The sound echoed like a gunshot. She grabbed it and slammed it against the floor again with all her strength. Shards, screams, broken breaths. But it was useless. The truth was already in the city groups, in the neighbors' phones, on store owners' pages, on the city servers. Several simultaneous lives blinked at once. The guard, pale, took another step back, then another, and quickly left the room, raising a hand as if saying, "I want nothing to do with this." Evelyn fell to her knees, trembling hands staring at the destroyed phone. No, no, This can't be happening. In the hallway, Lily was already far away. But before she left the house, she whispered to herself, "It's over now." Lily ran down the street like someone finally breathing after years underwater. The air was cold, wet, cutting her skin like a thin blade, but it felt like freedom. When she turned the corner, she saw Marcus standing next to his car, phone in hand. He already knew. "Lily!" he called, opening his arms without thinking. She stopped a few steps away, still out of breath. "It happened," Lily said. She lost it. The phone, the whole town. "Marcus, it's all out there. All of it." Emily leaned forward in the back seat, her eyes shining. "You did it," she said with a smile so sincere that Lily finally let out the air she had been holding. Marcus didn't ask how or why. He didn't ask for details. He didn't ask to hear the recording. He just placed a hand on her shoulder. "Get in. Let's go home." Later, as the car moved forward, dozens of notifications popped up on Marcus's phone. The town was in shock. Lily watched with a mix of disbelief and caution until Marcus spoke with calm certainty. "Lily, people only know about others what those others choose to show. And today, Evelyn showed what she never wanted anyone to see." He paused. "She showed herself, the hollow shell." Lily turned her face toward the window, letting the sentence sink in slowly. It was the first fair description anyone had ever given of her mother. When they arrived, Emily ran to get her favorite blanket and wrapped it around Lily like a natural gesture. Not pity, but affection. Marcus set his phone on the table, turned off the notifications, and said with a small smile, "I think today calls for pizza." Emily lifted her hands in celebration. Lily laughed for the first time in a long time. A light laugh, almost surprised. "Pizza? Now?" "Why not?" Marcus replied. "Today, you started your real life." They sat in the living room. Emily picking flavors, Marcus ordering, Lily watching the scene as if something impossible were happening right in front of her. When the pizza arrived, they ate in the simplest, most beautiful way. Emily talking too much, Marcus listening, Lily smiling, all of them laughing at silly things, crumbs on the table, the smell of warm dough, and a warmth that didn't come from the oven, but from the place itself. In the middle of a random conversation, Emily rested her head on Lily's arm like she would with someone from her family. And Lily let her, because for the first time she felt, "I belong here." For the first time there was no fear, no surveillance, no one controlling who she should be. There was only this: a small family, a warm pizza, and a beginning. The following days were a mix of silence and rebuilding. The town kept talking about Evelyn. But inside Marcus's house, life was slowly finding a new rhythm. A rhythm Lily had never known. She found a simple job in a coffee shop. First as a helper, then at the counter. The manager liked her calm posture. Some customers did too. And during those first weeks, Lily still lived with Marcus and Emily. She helped with meals, set the table, left thank you notes for the small things. At night, she lay in the guest room with the strange, comforting feeling that the world had stopped pushing her. Marcus didn't ask anything of her. Emily didn't hide how happy she was to have Lily there every day. When Lily received her first paycheck, she was the one who brought up the subject. "Marcus, I'm going to look for a place of my own. It's time." Marcus didn't try to stop her. He only nodded with the quiet respect he always gave her. "If you need help choosing, I can go with you." Lily smiled, touched. "I'd like that." A few days later, she rented a small studio downtown. Nothing special. Pale walls, a big window, a used table. But it was hers, for the first time in her life. And even then, she never stopped going back to Marcus's house. Every day after work, she went there, helped Emily with homework, had dinner with them, watched movies together, walked in the park on weekends. It felt like she had found her center, a place where she could be an adult, but still cared for. Emily treated her like an older sister. Marcus treated her like someone he deeply admired. A golden late afternoon. The same park where everything had begun. Marcus sitting on the grass, Emily drawing, Lily lying down looking at the sky. The breeze was gentle. The world felt possible. Emily held up her notebook. "Lily, look, I drew us today." On the page, 3 figures holding hands. Lily touched the drawing delicately. A new kind of delicacy. Marcus looked at her, a short, honest smile on his face. See? Some things start in the most unexpected way. Lily looked at him, then at Emily, then at the orange-painted sky, and she felt, not thought, felt, I have a place in the world. Not as a dependent, not as a runaway, but as someone who built her own light. Family is not who traps you. It's who sets you free. Lily found freedom, and she found a home in those she chose, and who chose her too. If this story touched your heart, I'd be grateful if you like and subscribe. You will receive daily emotional stories. If you've made it to the end, comment on what city you're listening from and if you enjoyed the story. That way I'll know you watched it all the way through.